Gosh, it's good to be home, y'all. So fun to be with my people. You just wouldn't believe the trips Amy and I have taken around the state. And this last year, it was about the middle of April last year when I decided to throw my hat in the ring. And Brian Kemp told me, he said, Bill, you would be great at it, but you gotta remember it is a big state. And good gracious, that's true. I mean, just all the many journeys we've taken to meet groups just like this. And I love the number of people we have here. I mean, it's a lot more than it was when I first got talked into this whole business by these two Johns sitting here on the front row back literally 20 years ago. And I always will love and thank them for giving me the support to run a state house seat literally 22 years ago. And they taught me about politics, and they told me about the Clark County Party. And at that time, Side Tree, what did we have? 10 people, y'all think, would come to our meetings? Maybe 15. And now I've just watched it grow. And our community, which everybody here knows how liberal it is, become more and more conservative and grounded, and realize these nuts that are running the asylum here are gonna run us, down the tubes if we don't fight back and stand up for our principles. I won't give you a lot of background on me since you all know me, but let's just put it this way. As far as being prepared for the job, I have spent 40 years practicing law, doing litigation in courtrooms. I've tried over 500 jury trials throughout Georgia, metro area, all northeast Georgia, down to Macon and Milledgeville. I understand the law and how to represent people and how to defend people. And that's really what the Attorney General is doing, is defending your Constitution, your constitutional rights, privileges, and duties, defending the state of Georgia and all of its agencies, defending the laws that our legislature passes in the court system. You're seeing right now an attack on the judiciary, as some of the Democratic groups are trying to seize the judiciary so that they can win in court what they don't win in the legislature. But that's what you really spend a lot of time in that job doing, is protecting our state, protecting our citizens' constitutional rights. The other thing is, I can't believe it, and Amy would just wring my neck if I had told her at the beginning that I was going to stay in the Georgia Senate for 20 years. That was not the plan, but I had such a passion for it, and I love the public policy, and I learned the political process and was able to be very effective doing things that I feel like made our state better. Amy would always humble me, and justly so, and say, you're just one little bitty cog in that machine over there. Y'all are a bunch of high school girls, and you are not changing the world. And she was right on all those points. But my little contributions, I do think, helped along the way. And it's fun listening to all these people talk. I mean, I have heard every speech from every candidate for all these different offices as I've gone around to these type of meetings and barbecues and different forums and things. And when I heard Ryan tonight talking about the police training center, that was my bill that defined domestic terrorism. I had learned, we were seeing these type of incidents happen around the country. And I had learned that Georgia didn't even have a plan. We did not have any type of domestic terror plan. And I had learned that we have a fusion center, they call it, where your local law enforcement works with federal law enforcement, particularly Homeland Security, to try to interdict and stop and punish any terrorist attacks. And so I created the Georgia Department of Homeland Security. And the commission, that's first task was to come up with an anti-terror plan, how to prevent these things from happening. We've been pretty darn successful. And also to learn how to prosecute them if they happen and put an end to them. And that bill gave the Attorney General concurrent jurisdiction to prosecute domestic terrorism, which Chris Carr is trying to do now. I think the courts have slowed him down. He's appealing it, and hopefully he'll be able to do that. So little things like that you do, it's gratifying that you're making life better. So, what you're probably wondering is, why are you, after a long, successful political career and legal career, wanting to do this job? To take a pay cut and go work hard with a 350-person law firm, Department of Law, to feel like you're doing your duty. And it is, to me, a duty, it's a service, and I feel like God has prepared me for this. I have the unique skill set and talent and experience to do it. And I'm willing to spend my time doing that. I want to spend my time doing that, and if it's God's will, and with your votes, I will, and I think we'll make a difference in the state. So what am I motivated by? What do I want to do with this office? Because it has very broad authority on do a lot of things. And I'll start by saying, those of you that know me, this isn't a surprise probably, but I am a constitutional conservative. I believe in strict construction of the Constitution and that it's our job to apply it and to protect it because it protects your rights and the way our government operates. I'm also a Christian conservative, and I'm not afraid to say it. Presbyterian here, I'm an elder in the church. My wife is an elder in the church, and we've served for many years at First Presbyterian. I have an A+ rating from the Faith and Freedom Coalition, and it's because of my Christian principles that I apply to lawmaking. And I think that's important for our state as things kind of slip away from us and we become more secular. I'm also a fiscal conservative, so y'all are asking questions tonight about our budget deficit. I passed in Georgia a Article 5 convention for a balanced budget amendment because I'm convinced these guys can't do it. When Buddy Carter is on the Appropriations or Budget Committee and still, I don't know how many years he served, but we aren't making progress. We're going the other way. It's pretty clear we're not going to just suddenly wake up one day and have a balanced budget. We hadn't had one since 1992. Now, Georgia, on the other hand, has had one every single year I've served, and it can be done. I'm also a Main Street conservative. I'm friendly to the business community, and one of our greatest accomplishments in my time in office was the tort reforms that we finally passed last year. And I don't like to use these occasions to take shots at my opponent, but I need to define the differences. He is a plaintiff's attorney. 75% of his contributions are from plaintiff's attorneys. And that's because he sides with them. He went and argued against us on a very simple measure to require people to wear a seatbelt in an accident. And that if you fail to do it, the other side could put that into evidence. He went down and argued against that 2 years ago and finally let it pass in this a year ago because Brian Kemp got behind it. We believe that this playing field was uneven for business and for citizens in Georgia getting sued with these nuclear verdicts, the advertising attorneys, and that these laws will bring down our insurance rates, make it fair, make it more pro-business so we can continue to be the #1 state. Because of that, a lot of the business community is backing me very strongly in this race, and I'm grateful for that. I'm also a Second Amendment guy. I've got an A rating from National Rifle Association. When I filled out their questionnaire a few years ago, they asked you, how many firearms do you own? And Amy was looking over my shoulder. I think I stopped at about 15 between rifle, shotguns, and pistols, and so I believe that let them know I believe in the right to keep and bear arms. But I plan to protect all of those things. You just have to know I'm the most conservative person in the race. And I think Georgia's conservative. Now, we're sitting here in Athens, Georgia, and it's not true all around us, but statewide, we are, and we need a conservative in this position. So where am I going to concentrate my time and energy? A lot of people mentioned different things tonight, basically about public safety. I think we have had an explosion in crime in my lifetime. In the last 10 years in particular, we didn't have Lake and Raleigh situations. We didn't have criminal, illegal aliens roaming and terrorizing our communities. We didn't have sex trafficking. Nobody ever heard of sex trafficking. And now Atlanta is the hub. We didn't have problems with gangs. They're in every city in Athens, including here, and it took Chris Carr to come in and prosecute that. I think he's ended with 17 convictions so far because Deborah Gonzalez denied that we even had gangs in Athens. Still, we had that drive-by shooting at 5 Points all of a sudden. Oh, maybe we do have this problem. It's in all our towns. It's not just big cities, and they run the prison system. We have to crack down on that. Fentanyl, it's an invasion. Every one of y'all knows somebody, a friend or a child of a friend or a college student somewhere that has had an overdose of fentanyl, didn't even know they were taking it. It's laced into marijuana or Adderall or whatever else they're buying, and it's coming from China and it's coming from Mexico, and we need to stop it. So what I'm going to do is I have a plan. I want to have a Safe Streets Strike Force. I want a team of very highly trained assistant attorney generals that will help DAs all over the state prosecute all those different types of crime I just mentioned to you. If they need help, and there are a lot of places that don't have budgets like Fulton County with $200 million for the DA's office, that they waste a whole bunch of it, prosecuting Donald Trump and Young Thug and whatever else puts her on the front page of the paper. A lot of these people in South Georgia, they don't have a couple of assistant DAs and they're overwhelmed with the crime, and I want to be able to offer them help. In many of those areas I mentioned, we already have concurrent jurisdiction where the Attorney General can come in and help them. But even those where we don't already, if they ask for help, I'm gonna be there to give them support and help, because I want you to be safe in your homes, on the streets, in your communities, throughout Georgia, and that's gonna be a top priority. Number two, I think we got to have election integrity.
Yes.
It is on every one of your minds. Does it help you? Do you know your vote's gonna count? Do you know that the bad people are not gonna count, the illegals aren't gonna count, that people may not vote more than once, that there may be imaginary absentee ballots that get cast? Well, that's something we've been fighting against in the state Senate, and my position is that ought to be the Attorney General's job. These are statewide elections and federal elections. The DA in Fulton County, Georgia should not have exclusive power to prosecute federal, state, any kind of election interference just because the capital happens to be in Atlanta, Georgia. That is absurd. It ought to be handled by a statewide office that's elected by all citizens to ensure our safety, the integrity of our vote. And I want to take one more shot at my opponent, and it'll be my last one, but I think it accentuates the difference, because everybody, we're saying the same thing. I bet y'all have heard all these lieutenant governor candidates, all together, they're all saying the same thing. But who's got the history? Who's going to do it? What's their voting record? In 2021, we feel strongly we've been cheated in Fulton County. When you go to bed at night and Trump's winning by 300,000 votes, and you wake up the next day and suddenly he's lost by, 11,000 votes or whatever, because of absentee ballots, mostly in Fulton County, Georgia, where 95% of them went for Biden. Trump was upset. We were upset. We were challenging those elections, which is where she came up with her prosecution to try to derail Trump. And it didn't make sense that you could put in absentee ballots for any reason. Raffensperger had mailed them to every citizen. Remember back we had COVID going on. We created these drop boxes that was never authorized by the legislature. So we wanted to tighten that up. And I remember it was Senate Bill 241. And it did a couple of major things. One, we're talking about IDs. You had to have a photo ID to vote, by golly. And we eliminated absentee ballots unless you were sick, in the military, or out of the country. No more just convenience absentee ballots, which eliminated the need for drop boxes, which had never been allowed. All but 3 Republicans voted for that bill. And my opponent was one of the 3, and we know he was there because he voted to take it off the table and then scampered into the anteroom and was absent for that vote, would not put his name on it. And we looked it up, he had voted against it in committee along with all the Democrats. So what I'm telling you is, if you care about election integrity, I care about election integrity. And I'm gonna do everything I can to let's restore order on that. Last thing, and then, because I'm trying to get us all out of here and be in my time limit, rogue prosecutors. They say you view life through the lenses of your own experience. Well, by golly, I had to live through Deborah Gonzalez just like y'all did.
That's right.
If there's a definition of rogue prosecutor, that's it. When somebody says they will not, prosecute the laws that the legislature passed. And then I got named to the chair of the Special Investigative Committee looking into Fonnie Willis and her hijinks. Shenanigans, just fraudulent act. Let's call it what it was. It's just unethical, wrongful behavior. When she took her position and she used it for personal financial gain by hiring her boyfriend, paying him $750,000, and then her enjoying the benefits and the travel on that taxpayer dime. When she used it for political gain and had a political prosecution against Trump, and not just Trump, but some other state senators, including Burt Jones, who she had hosted a fundraiser for his opponent. And the judge struck that one down quickly and said, what could you possibly have been thinking? He wrote those words in the opinion. Who would not know that this is a conflict of interest? She failed to obey or honor open records requests. We expect transparency of people that we're paying to do the job. Deborah Gonzalez, by the way, did the same thing. She also failed to honor and comply with the Victim Rights Act. Let victims know when their perpetrator is in court so they can be heard and say whether they agree or disagree with the punishment given or the process, and they can follow that. Those things were not being done, and we busted Fonnie's chops. We unveiled all of that, exposed her, and ultimately she was disqualified from the case, and then it was dismissed because nobody else was prosecuted, and the judge agreed it was groundless. Those things wouldn't have happened without our actions, and then I passed a bill this session to codify these things to make it clear. Everything I just mentioned and other professional standards must be followed by prosecutors, or we can take action to suspend them or remove them from office so that you know you're getting fair and impartial justice. That it's not for personal gain or personal animus or unethical reasons or for political persecution, that the prosecutors are doing their job. They put the criminals, the bad guys away instead of using it as a weapon. So those are several of the things that I'm going to be focused on. Many other things in the job. I understand it. I know the law. I know the process, and I think I'm the right guy for the job. So I hope that you'll support me. I don't take it for granted that you will just because I'm from Athens and y'all are here at our meeting. But please give me a chance. Cowsert for Georgia. Go online, read the whole shebang. You can see videos, you can see my corny commercials, whatever, if you want to get up to speed on the campaign, and you can donate if you have a heart and some change in your pocket. I'm happy to take any questions y'all let me know. Sure.
Yeah. Let's see who we have. Okay, a couple of questions for Senator Cowsert. Ross.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for your service.
Thank you,
I
Ross.
always thought of you and Frank and Houston and Marcus as our four horsemen. I don't think Clark County had any better representation than those four.
You might have
Thank
time to
you
say
very
that.
much.
I'll tell you, as the sort of the dean of that delegation, I love all those people. And we always had a pact. We would criticize in private and praise in public. Melvin Davis taught me that, and you will never hear us criticize each other, and part of it's because we admire each other and love each other. What
Okay,
else?
question.
The question is, we are voting on some Superior Court judges. There is no runoff. There is no second choice. What do you think is going to happen if those incumbents are not successful? Give us your opinion.
I'm scared to death. They are Court of Appeals judges and Supreme Court justices. We don't have any local contested Superior Court races this time. I am very troubled by it becoming political, partisan. They are nonpartisan positions for a reason. They're supposed to fairly and justly apply the law, not promote their philosophies. Other states have run into trouble with that, and unfortunately, the left is losing in those battles. I feel very strongly they want these liberal judges and justices to overturn tort reform to help the trial lawyers. They're supported by the Democratic Party. We have had such great pro-life legislation. They hate that. They want to turn that around. They want to control guns, and they are not in favor of your Second Amendment rights. They want somebody that can interpret our laws to flip it on us. And if they can't so far win in the legislature, they think they can take control. The Georgia Supreme Court has 9 members. They're attacking 2 of them this time. They know there are 3 more coming up for election in 2 years. That'll give them a 5-4 majority. I think they got a couple sleepers on there already, if you ask my opinion. And so I think you should vote for the incumbents. And you better read that ballot all the way down, because it is I voted first day. It is at the very bottom, even after the ballot questions. I'm so frightened that people will stop when they start reading these questions and just, think they're through. Stick it out, vote for the incumbents, at least on those appellate courts, because they're definitely, better than the devil you don't know. Sure. Great question. And It's an evolving type thing in our law. They're coming at us on all fronts. All the people, you know, Frank's back here, my wingman, Frank Yen, he's getting attacked by a plaintiff's lawyer. And in every vacancy, we have a number of senators that are moving up or moving out. And they are running candidates, and the Democrats are challenging us everywhere that's even close. And so we'll see how it works out. Love y'all. Thank you for having me. Don't forget to vote. I'm nervous about the vote totals. We're on the bottom end right now, and you need to be heard. Thanks so much.